Hi, welcome to my channel Mannel Talpagiri Official. Today we are going to discuss about some topics of basics of thermodynamics. In this lecture, we will see the basic concepts and introduction of thermodynamics. The word thermodynamics derives from two Greek words. One is therm and the second one is dynamikos. Therm means hot or heat and dynamikos means study of matter in motion, or simply we call it as power. So from these two words thermodynamics was derived and formed. Thus, thermodynamics is the study of heat related to matter of motion. And we can define this thermodynamics as the branch of science that deals with relations between heat, work, and properties of system. Thermodynamics deals with the study of energy transformations within the system and the transfer of energies across the boundary of the system too. Terms to study. One is system, second one is boundary, and third one is surroundings. So if we want to define the system, we can define it as the definite area or a space where some thermodynamic process is taking place, or it is also defined as a region where our attention is focused for studying a thermodynamic process. This is termed as system. And second one is boundary. Boundary is the surface which separates the system from its surroundings. It may be fixed or moving and real or imaginary. And the third one is surroundings. Everything external to the boundary is defined as surroundings. Here we can see the diagrammatic representation of system, boundary, and surroundings. When the system is bounded by some control volume, no matter enters or no matter leaves from the system, or no energy enters or no energy leaves from the system through the boundary. Here we have another term to discuss about, that is universe. Universe is an isolated system because the energy of the universe is constant, that is no surroundings around the universe. And universe we can write it as universe is equal to system plus surroundings. The combination of system with the surroundings is nothing but universe. The real boundary, that is a vessel containing liquid, forms a thermodynamic system, with the walls of vessel forming a real boundary surface. The imaginary boundary, that is a mass of liquid flowing along a pipe, this type of boundary may not be constant in shape and volume. The system is separated from the surroundings with the help of boundary, and this boundary may be fixed or movable or imaginary. It will not occupy any volume or mass in space. A thermodynamic system is defined as a definite shape or area on which the study of energy transfer and energy conversions is made. By this we can understand that system and boundary very clearly. Now we will discuss about three more terms. One is surroundings, and second one is control volume, and third one is control surface. Firstly we see about surroundings. Anything outside the system which affects the behavior of the system is known as surroundings. And control volume. A specified large number thermal device has mass flow in and out of the system and is called as control volume. Both mass and energy can cross the boundary of a control volume, which is called as control surface. So here we have seen three different terms. One is surroundings, second is control volume, and third is control surface. Now we will see types of thermodynamic systems. There are three types of thermodynamic systems. One is closed system, and second is open system, and third one is isolated system. First we see about closed system. A closed system consists of a fixed mass and there is no mass transfer across the boundary, but there may be energy transfer into or out of the system as shown in the figure here. And second one, open system. An open system is one in which both mass and energy can cross its boundaries as shown in the figure 1. An open system has a fixed space but does not contain a fixed mass of matter, and most of engineering devices are open systems. It can be very clearly observed in the figure A. Here in case of open systems, both energy and mass crosses the boundary of the system. And third one, isolated system. A system which is not influenced by surroundings is called an isolated system. It is a fixed mass and no heat or work across its boundary as shown in the figure. And in other words, there is no mass flow or energy flow from the system or to the system. Now we will see the examples of closed system, open system and isolated system. Firstly, we will see about example of a closed system. Consider a system consisting of a gas in a cylinder fitting with piston as shown. If heat is supplied to the gas expands, that is, the volume of the gas increases, so work will be done by gas on the piston. Thus, heat and work cross the boundary of the system, but no mass crosses the boundary of the system. Only energy transfer takes place from the system or into the system, but no mass crosses the boundary of the system. This is an example of closed system. Now let us take an example for open system. So consider a steam turbine. In steam turbine, the mass and energy of steam enters at one section, and after expanding into the turbine, it leaves at section 2. So both mass and the energy accompanied by the mass is entering at section 1 and it is leaving after the expansion in the turbine by the section 2. In this case, the work is produced by the turbine driven. So, in open systems, the mass, work and heat are crossing the boundary of the system. Now lastly, we will take an example for isolated system. So in isolated system, it is a fixed mass and no heat or work energy crosses its boundary. The best example for this isolated system is thermodynamic universe. In thermodynamic universe, there is no flow of mass and energy to and from the universe. And this is the best example for isolated system. And this ends the three types of systems, thermodynamic systems. One is closed system, second one is open system, and third one is isolated system. We have discussed these three types of systems with examples. Next we shall see about property, thermodynamic property. It is defined as any measurable or observable characteristic of a substance when the system remains in equilibrium, that is, pressure, temperature, density, volume, energy and specific volume. These are the properties of a system. The property can also be described like this. The characteristic which can be used to describe the condition of the system are known as properties. Every system has certain characteristics such as pressure, volume, temperature, density, internal energy, enthalpy, etc., by which its physical condition may be described. Such characteristics are called as properties of the system. The thermodynamic properties are classified into two categories. They are number 1, extensive property, number 2, intensive property. First we shall see about intensive properties. One whose value does not depend on the mass of the system are called intensive properties. Examples of these intensive properties are temperature, pressure, density, specific volume, etc. And this intensive property may also be defined as those properties which are independent of mass of the system. Since they are independent of the mass of the system, they remain same. They will not vary with respect to the mass of the system. So that's why these are independent of mass of the system. And next, coming to extensive property. One whose value depends on the mass of the system are called as extensive properties. Examples of these extensive properties are volume, total energy, weight, energy, entropy, etc. These are the extensive properties which depends on mass of the system. Extensive properties are often divided by mass associated with them to obtain the intensive properties. For an example, if the volume of the system is divided by mass, then it is known as specific volume, and the specific volume is an intensive property. So that's why it's noted that extensive properties are often divided by mass associated with them to obtain the intensive properties. Control volume. A specified large number thermal device has mass flow in and out of a system called as control volume. Control surface. Both mass and energy can cross the boundary of a control volume, which is called control surface. Universe. A system and surroundings together comprise a universe. Next, temperature. It is defined as a measure of velocity of fluid particles. It is a property which is used to determine the degree of hotness or coldness or the level of heat intensity of the body. Temperature may be defined as the degree of hotness or coldness of the substance. It indicates the thermal state of the body to transfer heat energy. Generally, in metric system, the temperature is most commonly measured in degree Celsius. The Celsius scale is calibrated by marking freezing point as 0 degrees and boiling point as 100 degrees centigrade. And there are 100 Celsius degrees between these two fixed points, that is between freezing point and boiling point. The temperature scale calibrated above absolute zero are called absolute scale of temperature or Kelvin scale of temperature. A temperature measured from absolute zero are called an absolute temperature. The basic unit of absolute temperature is called Kelvin. For water, the boiling point is 100 degrees centigrade and 373.15 kelvins and 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So we know that boiling point of water or steam point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. So by using this 100 degrees Celsius, we can easily find out it in kelvins as well as in Fahrenheit by using the formula. For finding out it in kelvins, we have the formula T is equals to 273 plus T, where capital T is equal to absolute temperature in kelvins, and small t is equal to temperature in degree Celsius. So here temperature in degree Celsius is 100, and 100 plus 273 gives 373, and it is 0.15. 273.15 plus 100 gives rise to 373.15 kelvins. And in the same way, for Fahrenheit also, we have the relation between Fahrenheit and Celsius as Fahrenheit is equal to 9 by 5 Tc plus 32. So we have 100 degree Celsius. So 9 by 5 into 100 plus 32. We get the Fahrenheit temperature. Now we will talk about the freezing point of water or ice point of water. So freezing point of water or ice point of water in centigrades is 0 degrees centigrades, and in Fahrenheit it is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and in kelvins it is 273.15 degree kelvins. So this also can be calculated by using the formula. In kelvins we have Tk is equal to Tc plus 273.15, where Tc is 0 degrees centigrades. We have Kelvin temperature as 273.15 degree kelvins. And in case of Fahrenheit, it is Fahrenheit is equal to 9 by 5 Celsius plus 32. 9 by 5 into 0. 0 with something is nothing but 0. So that's why we have Fahrenheit temperature as 32 degrees Fahrenheit. In this way, we will calculate the ice point and steam point in centigrade scale, Fahrenheit scale, and Kelvin scale respectively. Now we will discuss about adiabatic system. An adiabatic system is one which is thermally insulated from its surroundings. It can ever exchange work with its surroundings. If it does not, it becomes an isolated system. It can also be told that for an adiabatic system, the working substance neither receives heat nor rejects the heat to its surroundings during the compression or expansion process. That type of system is known as adiabatic system, and the process carried out in this system is known as adiabatic process. The adiabatic process can neither be reversible or irreversible. When the system is thermally insulated, no heat is entering or rejecting during the process from the system. Next we shall see about phase. A phase is a quantity of matter which is homogeneous throughout in chemical composition and physical structure. Here we can observe some phase changes of water. Based on its temperature, the phase of the water is changing. As the temperature is increasing, the phase change is also taking place. You can easily observe that phase changes in this diagram. Here you can see the calories of energy imparted to gram of water. So here initially it is at 0 degrees centigrades and its phase is ice. And if you impart 80 calories per gram of water, this becomes 0 degrees centigrades water. And again, if you impart 100 calories per gram, its temperature again rises and its temperature becomes 100 degrees centigrades and its state is always water. Again, 540 calories per gram is imparted to that water which is at 100 degrees centigrades, its phase may be changed to steam, but its temperature still remains at 100 degrees centigrades. Here you can see translational kinetic energy and potential energy plus rotational and vibrational energies. Let us see deep discussion about these kinetic and potential energies. Let us take an example of a marble sitting on a table. Simply, a marble sitting on a table with zero mechanical energy. That is, this kinetic energy of it is zero as it is sitting idle on the table, or it is being supported. So that's why its potential energy is also zero. And if the marble now tips over the edge and rolls down into the depression, you can see the depression over here, it will have negative potential energy, but since it is moving, its kinetic energy becomes positive, and therefore the total mechanical energy will be still zero. And after some time, the marble stops at the bottom of the depression, and it will have just the negative potential energy and will be trapped in a bound state. So that's why we can conclude that particles in bound states are said to have negative energies compared to free particles. Why so? The intermolecular attraction forces between water molecules hold them together in liquids or solid state. This means they have negative potential energy with respect to free molecules, and the negative potential energy exceeds the positive kinetic energy, so that they are in negative energy bound states. In the figure here, we can easily observe the positive kinetic energy of molecular motion and negative potential energy from intermolecular attractive forces, and where there is no energy, which is zero energy. You can observe these 3 points in the figure over here. Now we will see about homogeneous and heterogeneous system. Firstly, homogeneous system. A system which consists of a single phase is termed as homogeneous system. In other words, a mixture of air and water vapor and water vapor plus nitric acid. These are constituted as a homogeneous system. And coming to heterogeneous system, a system which consists of two or more phases is called a heterogeneous system. And examples of this is water plus steam, ice plus water, and water plus oil. And the mixture of one or two more phases are there here. So that's why it is called as heterogeneous system. Next we shall see about thermodynamic equilibrium. So in order to study about this thermodynamic equilibrium, we need to have an idea on three different equilibriums. Number one, thermal equilibrium. Number two, mechanical equilibrium. And number three, chemical equilibrium. So these three should be known in order to have an idea or to study on about thermodynamic equilibrium. Firstly, thermal equilibrium. The temperature of the system does not change with time and have same value at all points of the system. So at all points of the system, the temperature should remain unchanged. That type of system is known as thermally equilibrium system. And next one, mechanical equilibrium. There are no unbalanced forces within the system or between the surroundings. The pressure in the system is same at all points and does not change with respect to time. This type of conditions should be followed to get mechanical equilibrium. then only we can tell that the system is mechanically in equilibrium state. And next one, chemical equilibrium. No chemical reaction takes place in the system, and the chemical composition, which is same throughout the system, does not vary with time. So the chemical composition of the system should not vary with respect to time at any point. In that type of system, we can obtain chemical equilibrium. These following three types of equilibrium states must be achieved to call it as thermodynamic equilibrium system. Next, we shall see about zeroth law of thermodynamics. It is the basis of temperature measurement. When a body A is in thermal equilibrium with a body B and also separately with a body C, then body B and C will be in thermal equilibrium with each other. And this is known as zeroth law of thermodynamics. It can also be defined as when two bodies are in thermal equilibrium with a third body, the two bodies are in thermal equilibrium with each other and all three bodies are said to be in at same temperature. The first law of thermodynamics is the application of conservation of energy principle to heat and thermodynamic process. Here we can see the change in internal energy of a system is equal to heat added to the system minus the work done by the system. You can easily observe this. We have delta U is equal to Q minus W, where delta U is change in internal energy and Q is heat added to the system and W is work done by the system. And this is first law of thermodynamics. And mathematically this first law of thermodynamics can be written as delta U is equals to Q minus W, or it may be written as Q is equals to delta U plus W. Next, we shall see about specific heat. To define this specific heat, it is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 kg of mass to 1 degree Celsius. And it can be mathematically written as Q is equals to C into M into delta T, where Q is equals to heat added, C is equal to specific heat, and M is equal to mass of substance, and delta T is change in temperature. We have two types of specific heats in categories. Number one is specific heat at constant pressure Cp and specific heat at constant volume Cv. Cp and Cv values are very important to solve the problems on specific heat and heat addition. For air, we have the following values of specific heat. So specific heat at constant pressure Cp is 1.005 kilojoule per kg Kelvin, and specific heat at constant volume for air is 0.715 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. And here we have to talk about another topic, which is adiabatic index. The ratio of Cp and Cv is known as adiabatic index. So Cp by Cv is equals to adiabatic index, and this adiabatic index is denoted with gamma, and the value of this adiabatic index gamma is 1.4. This is very important in case of thermal engineering to solve any problem regarding gases. We shall talk about internal energy. So internal energy is the amount of energy stored in the body itself. And here we can see an example of a glass of water sitting on a table. So, can we tell that this water of glass is having some energy? And if you see it in a microscopic way, you can observe the microscopic kinetic energy, and we can observe the molecular attractive forces associated with the potential energy, and no apparent energy of glass of water on the macroscopic scale. When you see it in a microscopic view, you can observe the kinetic energy and potential energy. Now we shall see about sign conventions in thermodynamics. So for this we have to take a system associated with surroundings. It seems that the system should interact with surroundings, and the surroundings should interact with the system. First we shall talk about work done. If work is done by the system, it is taken as positive, and if work is done on the system, it is taken as negative. The same can be told like this: if work energy is transferred from the system to surroundings, it is denoted as positive, and if the work energy is done on the system by surroundings, then it is denoted as negative. Next we shall see about heat. If heat flow into a system is done, then it is taken as positive, and when heat flow is done out of a system, then it is taken as negative. So heat flow into the system is positive, and heat flow out of a system is negative. So these are the sign conventions of heat and work generally, which are very important to solve the problems on thermodynamics associated with the sign conventions. Whenever the question is given like the heat is added to the system or the work is done by the system, then the values will be given in the question, and the sign conventions should be taken by your own based on this concept. This is about sign conventions in thermodynamics. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel Mannel Talpagdi Official, and to get all notifications when I do videos on YouTube, please press bell icon and opt for all on the notifications button. Thank you one and all. Please support me to do more videos on education. Thank you one and all. May God bless you. Amen.